Let me tell you about the day my children decided I was confused. It was a Tuesday. Richard showed up with papers, power of attorney, medical proxy. "Just in case, Mom," he said. Patricia stood behind him, nodding. "You're getting older, Mom. We worry." Michael sat in the corner, quiet. He always sat quiet. I signed the papers, smiled, thanked them for their concern. They left happy. They thought they'd won. They had no idea I'd been waiting for that Tuesday for 3 years. I raised 3 children alone after their father died. Richard, the banker, Patricia, the real estate agent, Michael, the artist. I loved them all equally, or tried to. But somewhere along the way, Richard and Patricia started looking at my house differently, at my savings differently, at me differently, like I was an obstacle, not a mother, an obstacle. The first sign was Richard's phone calls. "Mom, have you thought about downsizing? Mom, this house is too much work." Then Patricia started bringing brochures, assisted living facilities. "Beautiful places, Mom. You'll make friends." I looked at the brochures. I recognized one. It had been investigated for neglect 3 times. They didn't know I knew that. They took me to visit Sunset Hills. Richard drove. Patricia talked the whole way about how expensive everything is, about how my savings would last longer in a managed facility. Michael stayed home. "He's not good with these things," Patricia said. I looked out the window, memorized the route, took mental notes. The facility smelled wrong. The staff looked tired. The residents looked forgotten. I smiled and said, "It's lovely, dear." That night, I sat at my kitchen table. The house their father built, the garden he planted, 42 years of memories. And I realized they weren't waiting for me to die. They were waiting for me to disappear, to become confused, to sign things without reading, to become manageable. I decided right then they would not manage me. I called Michael, the quiet one, the one they called the failure. He came over that night. I made tea. We talked for hours. I told him everything, my suspicions, my fears, my plan. He listened. Then he said, "What do you need me to do, Mom?" That's when I knew I still had one good one. The next morning, I went to my lawyer, Mr. Henderson, known him for 40 years. He didn't ask questions. He just listened. We drafted new documents, a new will, a new trust, a new power of attorney, all naming Michael, all backdated, all legal. Mr. Henderson smiled when I explained why. "Evelyn," he said, "you're sharper than all 3 of them combined." "I know," I said. "That's the problem." For 6 months, I played along. I let Richard call me confused. I let Patricia help me with my checkbook. I even let them move my furniture around for safety. They thought I was deteriorating. I was documenting every conversation, every visit, every time they mentioned facilities and managed care. Michael recorded everything on his phone, in his notebook. He was always quiet, but he was always watching. The day came. Richard pulled up with a moving truck. Patricia had already donated most of my things. "For your own good, Mom, less to deal with." Michael helped me into the car, squeezed my hand. Richard drove. Same route, same facility, Sunset Hills. I watched the building get closer, and I smiled because I knew I wasn't staying. Sunset Hills was worse than I remembered. The smell, the silence, the way staff talked to residents like children. Richard signed papers. Patricia inspected my room. Cozy, right, Mom? I nodded, smiled, unpacked my small bag. They left with hugs and promises to visit. They didn't visit, not that week, not the next. Michael came every day, brought real food, took notes, waited. On day 12, Michael brought news. Richard and Patricia had already listed my house, already contacted buyers, already spent money they didn't have yet. He had proof, texts, emails. Patricia even sent a photo of the for sale sign. Michael showed me his phone. I looked at the sign in front of my home, my garden, my life. And I said, it's time. Michael made calls. Mr. Henderson, the bank, the title company, and one more call to a news reporter, a young woman who'd been investigating elder fraud for years. She arrived at Sunset Hills within the hour, camera hidden, questions ready. I sat in my tiny room wearing my best sweater and told her everything. For 2 hours I talked. She recorded. Michael documented. The trap was set. The next Sunday, Richard and Patricia came to visit. First time in 3 weeks. They wanted me to sign more papers, sale documents. Just a formality, Mom. I invited them to sit. Michael was there too. Quiet, watching. I pulled out a folder, my folder, the one with everything. Before I sign anything, I said, I want you to meet someone. The reporter walked in, camera rolling. Richard's face went white. Patricia stopped breathing. I've been confused for 6 months, I said. Confused enough to let you move me here. Confused enough to let you sell my home. Confused enough to let you spend my savings. But here's the thing. I'm a nurse. I've seen real confusion. I know the difference. And I've been documenting every single conversation, every visit, every time you called me confused. For the record, for the lawyers, for the news. Michael opened his phone, played recordings, Richard saying, just sign it, Mom, you're not thinking straight. Patricia saying, the facility is for your own good. Texts about the house sale, emails about managing the estate. Richard tried to grab the phone. Michael stepped back. The reporter kept filming. This is all going on the news tonight, I said, unless you'd like to explain yourselves first. Richard started yelling. Patricia started crying, real tears this time. Not for me, for themselves, for their reputations, for the deals that were about to disappear. I just sat there, in my tiny room, in my best sweater, watching them fall apart. Michael stood beside me, quiet, always quiet. The reporter kept filming, kept asking questions. They had no answers, just noise. Mr. Henderson walked in, briefcase in hand. Good afternoon, Evelyn, he said. I have the original documents, the new will, the new trust, the new power of attorney, all signed, all dated, all legal. Richard, Patricia, your mother has generously left you each $1. The rest goes to Michael and to a foundation for elder fraud victims in her name. Appropriate, don't you think? That night, the news aired. Children put mother in neglectful facility to steal home. Richard's face was blurred but recognizable. Patricia's too. Their phones exploded. Their jobs called. Their friends stopped answering. The house sale fell through. The buyers didn't want the drama. I watched it all from Michael's apartment, his small, warm apartment where he'd always had room for me. He just never told them. Today, I live with Michael. My house is still mine. We rent it out. The income pays for a nice caregiver who comes twice a week, not because I need one, because I deserve one. Richard calls sometimes, leaves messages. Mom, I'm sorry. Mom, can we talk? I delete them. Patricia sent flowers once. I gave them to the neighbor. Michael laughs every time. The Evelyn Prescott Foundation helps other seniors, the ones whose children also got worried, the ones in facilities that smell wrong. We provide lawyers, document storage, hidden cameras, support. We've helped 17 families this year, 17 seniors who thought they were alone, who thought they were confused, who thought they had no options. They call me sometimes. Thank you, Evelyn. I tell them the same thing. You were never confused. You were just surrounded. So what did I learn? Aging doesn't make you stupid. It makes you patient. It makes you watch. It makes you wait for the right moment. Richard and Patricia thought I was confused. I was just waiting for them to show me who they really were. And when they did, I was ready because I had Michael, I had Mr. Henderson, and I had a very, very good memory. My name is Evelyn Prescott. I'm 68 years old. I'm a retired nurse. I'm a foundation founder, and I still have every document, every recording, every text in a safe place with Michael's name on it, just in case. Thanks for listening. And next time someone calls you confused, smile, nod, and start documenting. You're not confused. You're just getting ready.